What's up YouTube? My name's Quickie, welcome back to the channel. More of this in a minute, but today is Tuesday. I was supposed to have been here yesterday to check on the headlamp. I couldn't because I was having a laptop day. There was a load of stuff I need to get done. So I popped in this morning. It is currently 8:30 and it's looking very green in there. Let me show you what's what. Oh. Right, so this has been cooking for basically 2.5 days in quite a weak solution of citric acid. Some of it has worked, some of it hasn't. I thought it would take the chrome off. It hasn't. However, the rust has gone. That is looking pretty good. Oh, the chrome is starting to go, look. I'll see if I can, you can start to scrape it off. What I might do is get a bit of wire wool on this. But this bit is still hard as anything. That ain't going anywhere. What about the headlamp? Well, all the rustiness is gone. Is it full of water? No, it ain't. There is condensation in there, but this thing has been cooking at 26 degrees. It is nice and toasty in here, it has to be said. But all the rust has gone off the surround. We'll get these on the bench in a sec so you can have a look-see. And the little surrounds, well, they've come up a treat. Again, no rust, but the chrome is still on it. And this little surround ring has come up lovely. Right, let's get these on the bench. We'll have a look-see, and I can show you what's what. But this citric acid trick definitely works. I hate it when Steve-O tidies up. You can't find anything. Right, let's have a look and see what's going on. The citric acid has definitely took all the rust off, as you can see. I'll see if I can get a picture of the before, and I'll shove it up here now. But you compare that to what it was originally, it's awesome. Chrome on the inside is definitely coming off, so let's attack that. Yeah, look, it's just wiping off. Chrome on the outside, geez, untouched. I mean, that's chrome. I mean, I'm not sure if that, well, I suppose it would have just been all dipped together, and it is chrome. It's just like, the outside though is just totally untouched, which it's going to have to get stripped down. It's going to have to. The shock blaster would take ages, so we need another way of doing this, but that has cleaned up a treat. I need to give these like a proper good old scrub up, soapy water and stuff, because essentially it's acid, isn't it? This was rusty as hell around the edges. And that's lovely. That really is good. There's no rust on it at all. So we can definitely use that again. There is condensation on the inside, as you can see. but it was all taped up. The seal looks intact. I don't think it's leaked through. I think it's just condensation where it's been sitting in the solution, because that was like 26 degrees. You're going to get condensation. See, it's weird. The chroming on the inside of the rim, that flakes off. Stuff on the outside of the rim, not a thing. It looks really, really good. I'm not even sure he's going to need to re-chrome. This is the only bit he wants to keep chrome. Couple of little pits on it here, so he probably will get it re-chromed. And the ring, that was crusty as anything. Really, really pleased with that. Right, okay. Sort of a success. We got rid of the rust. Bit of a failure. We didn't get rid of the chrome. Right, let's give it a wash up. Before you ask, it's December, and that's an outside tap. Of course the water's freezing. See, it hasn't really touched the chrome on the outside at all. I mean, this discoloration and stuff here, that was there beforehand. I was hoping if the citric acid was going to work, it was going to sort of attack that bit and then sort of carry on. But it didn't. So, this is all going to get painted or powder coated or whatever anyway. I think he's going powder coat on this. So we'll have to have a chat with Jack and see what he recommends. But inside it's come up a treat. You can see it's started to flake off. And where you rub it with a Scotch-Brite, if you sort of catch an edge, it does sort of lift a bit and, you know, a bit more scrubs off, and then it just stops coming off. So, you know, whoever chromed it didn't do a bad job, did they? It's lasted well. But the rust is gone. That was the main thing. And what we're left with is a bowl that we can definitely use on the bike. Oh, this brackety thing, somebody chipped in. Thank you very much. But that is basically how you lock it, sort of in the up, you know, the angle pointing up and down. So we need to get some sort of fixture in place to deal with that as well. Like these rims and stuff, they've come up a treat. I mean, there's like a few little, where this has been spot welded, you know, this bracket's been spot welded onto it, there's a few little dinks and you know, circles where you can see the weld. So ideally that all wants to be dressed up so it's nice and smooth. And there's a tiny bit of pitting around here, you know, just where the chrome has started to go. So he's going to get it re-chromed anyway, but we'll dress it up before that happens. And then the inner ring is just fine. There's no pitting, there's no nothing. And the chrome hasn't been got out by the acid. I'm sure I heard someone say citric acid will take chrome off. I thought it was matte. So I've either not have it concentrated enough, if it does work, which if he says it works, you know it's going to work. So I've either not added a concentrated enough solution, or I've just not left it in long enough. But this chrome just hasn't been touched. And the light itself is really good. All this was crusty and horrible and everything. And that's the bit I was more worried about, really. All the rest of this stuff you can fix up. But if this is shot, then you're buggered. You have to get another one. And yes, we could just get another, you know, GS850 light or whatever the thing is that he bought. I'm sure it was a GS. Or was it an Exit? I don't know. I can't remember. No, it wasn't a GS. I don't know, whatever it was. But this was all manky and horrible. And rust had gotten in here, sort of in the backs of the brackets. I suppose it's just like a bit of a water trap. And that had gone all bare. But having it in citric acid for 3 days has brought it up. Not like new, but not bad at all. That is definitely usable. Right, it's only loosely put together. Mostly because he's lost one of the screws. I don't know where it is. And it wasn't me, Steve-o, before you start going on. It wasn't me. So we need to get another screw to hold the rim in. But it does look good. I do like that. He's obviously going to have all this off. The bowl is going to be black. The only chrome bit is going to be the ring on the front. The bolts will be coming in from the other side, so we'll be bolting it up from inside the headlamp. So we need some sort of shouldered thing on the inside just to take up that gap, spread the load out. And that little mounting bracket at the back, that's going to be fine. Let me show you. So hopefully you can see in there, this bit is like a slotted bracket that just goes on the back of the bowl. And essentially that just sort of controls, you know, where it's going to be like that. So you set it where you want it to be, and then you just wind the nut in. So I found a little bit of tube with a hole in it. So all I'm going to do is thread this out and chop it down to size and sort of stick it in there, sort of up against the inside of the tube. And that way, you know, it's real simple. It's going to be tiny. You're not really going to see it, especially when it's all black. And you just wind a nut in from the other side into this just to lock it in place, and that will keep the headlamp all nice and sturdy. Does look good with the headlamp though. That makes all the change. What I'm probably going to have a go at, because I really want to get this finished up, and it wouldn't really take that much to do. So I'm going to do the covers to go over these brackets, just so it neatens everything up and you can't see any fixings and all that lot. And I'll get this bit done and I'll shove it in there, and we should be gold. That does look good. I'm liking that. Right, let's leave him there or I'll lose it. Right, so the citric acid trick worked again. I'd never heard of it before I saw it on Trev's blog. I didn't come up with it. I nicked it off a fella called Trev from Trev's blogs. He's got his own channel and he does like, well, he's been doing this van for ages. But essentially all it is 10 grams of citric acid, which is, you can get it, that's the bag. And it's a 2 kilo bag, and it's just citric acid crystals. Pure food grade fine crystals. There you go. But that's it, you just shove that in water, so it's 10 grams of this to every litre of water. and you just put a squirt of like washing up liquid or, you know, car shampoo or something like that in it, just to break the surface tension. And then in a bucket as well, we just add this. So, bog standard aquarium heater. I think this is like a tenner or something. I mean, they're cheap as hell. I found that 26 degrees keeps it nice and toasty. Anything more than that, and my big bucket starts to boat because all the water's too hot and it's not that thick. And I've just got a little aquarium pump with a nozzle on it, so you can point that wherever you want. And it just keeps everything circulating. That definitely seems to help, as does the heat. But just, you know, movement and heat is always going to help, isn't it? So that's all we do. Shoved it in there. 3 days later, it's spick and span. Job done. Right then. If anybody does have suggestions of getting chrome off, I would love to hear them, because I heard that this worked, but I haven't really touched it. So if you have got any suggestions for getting chrome off, don't really want to do it in the shop blaster. One, it will take ages. Two, you know, some of the bits in there is quite thin. I don't want to damage it or anything. I'd rather soak it in something and get it off. But if you've got any suggestions, have at it. The other option, I suppose, is we'll have a word with Jack and see if we can't just DA it off, get it all, like, you know, if there's any nicks and bumps and stuff like that done, and then just powder coat over top of it, or have it plated over top. Maybe that's an option, I don't know. If anybody's done it, would love to hear from you. Stick something in the comments so I can have a look-see. Right, so what else we got going on? I've had some stuff come up for stuff I need to do shortly. Let me show you. One of them, one of them. One of them. Stop binging. And some of that. That's one of the projects. I haven't even opened this yet. I probably should do. This is basically an upgrade for the shop blaster. What I want to do is to turn it into a vapor blaster. God, you'll hear all this binging in the background. That's Matt and Andy having a conversation. I ain't going to tell you what it's about. Oh, doesn't. Why do they do that? A box in a box. Yes. Right. So, what I want to do is basically turn the shop blaster into... I'm going to have to put them over there. They're binging away like anything. Right, what I want to do is to turn the shop blaster into a vapor blaster, and I want to try and get it done over Christmas. So I've got some time off, and it would just be a good thing to have ready and waiting, basically. So in here, I've got a dirty water pump. Come on. And fittings. So yeah, dirty water pump. Like that. So, oh, it's got a float switch on it as well. Oh, I didn't know I had one of them. Oh, that changes things slightly. So what I want to do is, I don't want to have a shop blaster anymore, I want a vapor blaster. For a couple of reasons. One, it is right next door to Chuck Norris, MacLeod, and I just, even though I've gone round and I've done the filtration thing with the cyclone and all that stuff, and it does cut dust down, dust still leaches out of everywhere. Sort of like around the gloves, you know, the surround and the window and like around the door, and it's just, it's not good. So it's changing. And if I run a vapor blaster, then everything's contained within a slurry, so you don't get all the dust basically. Plus you can change the media, so you can still, like, you know, strip paint off and get rust off just by using aluminium oxide and water as the slurry. Or you can go for fine, like fine ground glass, and you can get really nice finish with that. So imagine, you know, you can go over carbs, for example, or cases or whatever, and you can literally bring them up like new. Brake calipers, all that sort of stuff. So that's what we're doing. Because we're getting to the point with this where there's not actually that much more fabrication left to do. It's just routing stuff and placements, obviously the exhaust and the foot pegs. but that's it. And then we're on to pulling it apart, fully welding the frame and cleaning bits up ready to go back on whilst the frame's being powder coated. So they weren't actually that far off it. And that's where all this stuff comes in. This is just a switch. Yeah, normal switch. Basically so I can turn the pump off and on. And then I've also got a foot operated pneumatic valve. Yeah, pneumatic, same as like on the, it does that, just with your foot. Because obviously we're going to be pumping an awful lot of slurry through this, but it's also going to be blasting air at it as well. This pump, again, cheap as hell, really, really cheap. It's a dirty water pump, so it can pump water that's got stuff in it. And it can pump up to 12,500 litres an hour, depending on the height of the outlet. So that, pumping slurry through this, connected to that, shoved into the cabinet, and then also, you know, obviously air being stuffed in there as well. I need to figure out some sort of nozzle. There is a video that I've been watching, there's a couple of videos actually, where they use pipe fittings. So that'll do it. And I can have the nozzles off the old shot blasting gun, that'll be fine. And we can actually get it done. So that's going to be one of the projects that I've got going over Christmas. Let me just tidy this up and I'll show you something else as well. Right, this is the other thing. And this is for the crappy little mill. I've only got the first bit, but this is basically a DRO. So this is the display. Digital readout, 3-axis. So that's the display, basically. So what this means is I can fit scales to it, X, Y, and Z axis, and you can track exactly where it is. There is so much slop in that, it is just stupid. You can't just go by the dials. You can try and manage the backlash all you want, but it ain't happening. So we've got a DRO to go on. I need to measure it up for the scales. Basically, I couldn't afford to get it all in one chunk, so I'm having to, you know, get bits as and when I can afford it, sort of thing. But this means we can start making stuff on the lathe and get it properly on dimension and stuff as well. And it's just going to make things so much easier. Like when I come to do the top shock mount, I'm not starting it until, you know, I've got a way of getting it absolutely accurate and on track and everything else, because then I can make all sorts of stuff. And a DRO is just going to make it easy. It don't matter what the dials say, this will tell me exactly where it is. And it's got loads of functions like, you know, you can plot holes in a circle or do an arc or, you know, half a value and all that sort of stuff, absolutes and incrementals. Does everything. Ultimately, I do want to swap out the mill and get a bigger, betterer one. So when that happens, all I'll do is I'll have the DRO off of it and transfer it onto the new one. I do have plans for that end of the shop, but that's a ways off because I need to clear an awful lot of junk out of the way. But if I can get a bigger mill, it will be going over there and it'll have this on it. Right. Final little thing I've got going on is this. This has been given to me by Evan. He's a fella I work with and he is like the oldest man on the planet. He looks like Papa Smurf, just, you know, really thin and unwell. Basically, he needs two of these things whizzed up on Chuck Norris. And it's for his bike. He's got a Rocket 3. You can see, I'll show you this, it is quite funny. Actually, I'll just get a picture and shove that up. Did have a crack in it, so he welded it. Goon. So I'm going to have a go at making a couple of these for him. I don't know if it's steel or stainless or whatever. No idea. But this is what he wants making. So I'm going to have a go at making one for him. And then if that does the job, I will make the other one. And if he wants it done out of stainless, he's going to have to get me some stainless, isn't he? Right, let's give this a go. Right. That's the start of it anyway. I will show you some stuff on the lathe, but not yet. Right. Let's have a go at doing these caps. It might be a simple idea, but they're always the best ones. And that's going to be fine. It's just a cover after all, and it's going to overlap and it'll be bolted through there, wound up, jobs are good and happy days. You won't even see the fixings from the outside, which is what I want. So that's what I'm doing. Anyway, I've got to chip off now. I've got to get to my work. I am running late. I'm running very late actually. Oops. So I'll get this done over the next couple of days and show you what's what. We can get that shoved back on the bike. Do that little limiting thing for this jobby. That's easy. And then I can crack on with the footrests, I think. I think that's what I'm going to do. I need to get a couple of these little jobs and stuff out of the way because I want to get those other projects done that I showed you earlier on, because they are going to be needed soon. And I've got some other stuff I need to make as well for somebody else. So anyway, that's where I'm leaving it. Thank you ever so much for joining us. Do hope you're staying well and safe. Look after yourselves, and we will see you again next time. Laters!